Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay in the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Welcome to the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff. Sharon joining you. Eric Lopez has the night off, and we're starting our fall sport previews here in episode 2, as we're going to be going through all the fall sports, talking with all the head coaches, and we're starting off with UCF women's soccer here in episode 2, and head coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak will be our special guest. She's heading into her 4th season at UCF after taking over for Amanda Cromwell. Coach Roberts Sahaydak, also a former member of the U.S. national team, spent 10 years with the U.S. national team. We're going to talk about her experience. We're going to talk about her at UCF and her team coming in that last year fought through a really tough schedule, finished 3rd in the conference, got knocked out in the first round of the NCAAs, but before we do that, we wanted to remind you, of course, to subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already on iTunes, also Google Play, and we're working on Stitcher. We're having some problems getting our Stitcher feed up and running, but I'm going to be working on that and fixing that in the coming days here. Also, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at UCF_Banneret. That's BANNERET. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Black and Gold Banneret. And you can also follow us individually on Twitter. I am at Jeff_Sharon, and Eric Lopez is at Eric Lopez Elo. So without further ado, let's talk about UCF women's soccer. Head coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak's team last year finished 12-6-2, 6-3 in the American Athletic Conference, which was good enough for 3rd in the league, but they finished the season 27th in the National RPI. They made it to the American Athletic Conference semis in the tournament, but lost 1-0 in 2 overtimes to USF. USF went on to lose the championship game to Cincinnati in PKs after a scoreless game. Then the UCF got an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament, where they hosted William and Mary, but lost after a scoreless game on PKs 3-1. This coming off an NCAA Sweet 16 year in 2014. Last year they had a bunch of newcomers, but this year they have a bunch of returning players. 11 returning players who clocked time in at least 10 matches last year. This year the Knights also welcome in 10 newcomers that have national team experience in their youth in whichever country that they may be from various different countries on this team, which is Coach Robert Sahaydak and her husband Tim have done a wonderful job of recruiting the international circles as well. It's a tough schedule for UCF this year. They're receiving votes in the NSCAA preseason poll, not in the top 25, but receiving votes. But they can climb up those polls pretty quickly because they play 5 teams that are ranked in the preseason poll in their schedule, including their first 2 matches, August 19th and 21st, their first 2 regular season matches. They travel up to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and they start the season with number 9 North Carolina. 2 days later, they got number 3 Duke. So that's going to be a tough start to the season. The Knights also face number 24 South Carolina at home on August 28th. That's 3 days after their home opener, which is against UMass on Thursday, August 25th. Another notable home game, September 2nd, which is a Friday, that's a road game, rather, against Oklahoma State on September 2nd. And then back in Central Florida on the road, September 4th, Sunday, renewing their rivalry at Stetson. A couple of big in-state games that they got in the non-conference schedule. Home for FIU on September 8th, at Florida Gulf Coast on September 11th. Florida Gulf Coast, by the way, receiving votes, defending Atlantic Sun champions. And then September 18th in Gainesville, that's a Sunday, they head to the University of Florida to take on the number 7 ranked Gators, heading into the conference schedule, which starts September 29th. At home with Houston, and then SMU a couple days later. The Knights play at South Florida on October 7th. Home matches against Cincinnati, East Carolina to close out the conference schedule, and then the American Athletic Conference Championship begins at the campus site of the regular season winner, November 2nd through the 6th. The championship game is scheduled for the 6th. As far as notable players, Carol Rodriguez returns to UCF. She was the American Athletic Conference Co-Offensive Player of the Year last year, scoring 11 goals. That was tied for the team lead with Ashley Spivey, but Ashley is gone. She graduated last year. Also coming back for the Knights, Kayla Adamek, first-team All-American Athletic Conference, and Vera Varis in goal, who is an All-American Athletic Conference rookie team member and also on the All-Tournament team. So quite a bit of production coming back for Coach Roberts Sahaydak, who graduated from UNC back in 2005. She and her husband, Tim, are a package deal here at UCF. And by the way, the next regular season victory for UCF will mark Tiffany's 100th win as a college head coach. She's a native of San Ramon, California. And if you know anything about U.S. soccer, then Coach Roberts Sahaydak is a familiar name, of course, because she spent 10 years on the USA national team from 1994 to 2004. She's got a gold medal from the 96 Atlanta Olympics. She played alongside Michelle Akers on that team, of course, the UCF great. 3 appearances in the World Cup, including she's a 99er, member of the 1999 World Cup team, 110 caps, 60 starts for Tiffany in her USA career. Her first one came when she was just 16 years old, and she played in her first World Cup 1 month after she turned 18. She finished up her career in 2004 with the U.S. national team as well. As far as her work at UCF, like we said, she's been to the NCAA tournament all 3 years, 2-time American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year, and at UCF she is 46, 14, and 6. She recorded back-to-back AAC championships in 2013 and 14. Players of hers have won 6 Conference Player of the Year awards, 25 All-League and tournament selections. She has continued, and I would say she has expanded the greatness of UCF women's soccer in her short period of time after she took over for another U.S. national team member who was a longtime head coach at UCF, Amanda Cromwell. Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak has really done a fantastic job moving UCF up the ranks and making them a serious contender year in and year out, not just in the American Athletic Conference, but on a national level. So, without further ado, here is our interview with head coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak of UCF Women's Soccer. How was your summer?
I'm doing great. Summer's busy with camps, recruiting as always, and now just enjoying, obviously, our preseason has kicked off.
All right, so let's talk about last year. You guys finished 3rd in the league, but 27th in the RPI. Lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament to William & Mary in a tough one. It went to PKs. It was a scoreless game. Now that you have the benefit of some time to sort of look back on it, right? Do you view last year as something to build on, or maybe there were some missed opportunities?
I think a little bit of both, but I'm a very positive person, so I usually look at it as something to build on. So, last year we had a lot of new players, and so we were actually fairly young, and this year we're returning a lot more. So going into last season, we had lost 9 starters. So based on that, I feel like we had a positive season, a successful season. Of course, we always want to win the championship and make it past that first round, but the 27 RPI and getting to host that first round of the NCAA tournament was great.
I was interested because your scheduling has been unbelievably hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean,
I'm wondering what I'm doing to myself.
So let me ask you, what's your scheduling philosophy given UCF's position, nationally speaking? The Knights are seen as a really, really good non-power team. So what do you try to do when you fill out a schedule the way you do?
Honestly, I want to prepare my team as well as possible, and I feel like the best way to learn about ourselves and to grow is to schedule the hardest schedule possible. So if we have the opportunity to play Carolina and Duke in our first weekend like we are this year, then I want to take advantage of that. So when you're stretched that way and you're competing against the best, you really know where you stand, and then we can learn from, a lot about ourselves early on the season so that when conference starts, we can be ready and we have confidence.
Yeah, you guys are playing. I saw the coaches poll came out. You guys are playing 5 teams ranked in the preseason poll. Duke's number 3, Florida's number 7, Carolina's number 9. UConn is the top-ranked American team this year at 15. South Carolina's at 24. And then on top of that, you've also got Florida, Gulf Coast, and USF receiving votes. So just another easy schedule, right?
Oh, yeah. And like I said, I stress out every year when I look at the schedule and say, what did I do? But I do it because I know it prepares ourselves for conference. And honestly, if we can win some of those big games, it helps us in the NCAA tournament time if we don't win the conference championship. So we want to position ourselves to get to the NCAA tournament every year.
How tough is the American and women's soccer, really? I mean, is it the equivalent of what we would call a Power 5 league in football or basketball? Cincy last year, they were the 4 seed and they won the whole thing. So how tough is this league?
It is tough, and it's really, anybody, and that's how soccer is. It's on any given day, it's anybody's game to win,
Yeah.
And that's what makes it the sport exciting. But we had a very strong conference last year with UConn, and South Florida had, I think, one of the best teams they've ever had in history of their program. Cincinnati came up and won the conference. So tough conference.
Let's talk about your players. Carol Rodriguez is coming back. She shared the lead in goals with 11 last year with Ashley Spivey, but Ashley's gone now. So how's Carol been working this summer to step it up now that she's going to have quite a bit of the scoring weight on her shoulders?
Yeah, Carol is, she trains like a pro in the off season. So she wants to play professionally after she's done playing college soccer. Her mentality, she just has a great training mentality, competitive spirit, and great leadership skills, and a great, just positive, enthusiastic energy about her. So she's ready, she's trained, she's fit. She actually trained with Orlando Pride over the summer a little bit, and so I think that benefited her as well.
Tell me about Kayla Adamek and Vera Veras. Veras back there in goal. Kayla is obviously doing a lot of work for you up front, too, and in the midfield. How have their off seasons gone, and how have they gotten better in preparation for 2016?
Yeah, Kayla Adamek, she, dealt with some injuries last season, so I'm really glad that the conference, voted her as all-conference player because she just really leads by example. She has an amazing work ethic, and, her freshman year, She had a lot of points for our team. So I'm hoping, now that she's healthy, she took the summer, she's healthy, she's played in, she's fit, she's feeling really confident right now. So she should be able to help our team with points and help Carol there. And then you mentioned Vera Veras. She was a young player new to our roster last year, and she just got better with every game and became a wall for us.
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited that we get her with 1 year now under her belt. She's going to be great.
One of my favorite stats about your team this year, coming into this year, Coach, is that you have 10 newcomers with national team experience. So what kind of expectations do you have for your new players coming in, and who should we look out for as some key newcomers this year?
Okay, so that's a great stat. I love it. And having that national team experience, helps out a lot. So you may have a freshman coming in like a Julia Ekholm from Sweden. Although she's a freshman, she's played in the U19 Euros with Sweden. She's probably going to make the U20 World Cup team this year for Sweden this fall. So even though she's a freshman, she has loads of international experience, which helps being able to plug a freshman in and have way more experience than kind of the average freshman that comes in. So Julia is someone to watch. I'm really excited about Carrie Lawrence, who is a transfer from South Carolina. She's only a sophomore, but she plays with so much intelligence, and she plays with so much maturity, really, for just being a sophomore. And she's a Florida girl, Orlando girl, hometown girl, came back to us. So I'm really excited about these two players.
What's going to be what's the one thing that you look at when you kind of sit back and you think about this team this year in preparation for your season, where you're like, okay, if we do this one or two or three things, we're going to have a really good season?
So I think the first thing is just really like our chemistry. It sounds a little bit cliche, but having played on good teams in my career, it really always came down to that chemistry and being on the same page and having this team first mentality. Just making sure we have that chemistry off the field is so important, that leadership. And we're working on that. And the leadership right now, I mentioned Carol, and we have a Saga Fredriksson, who's going to be a junior from Sweden. We have really good leadership. So that's one main focus, make sure we're all on the same page off the field. And then I think tactically, I would love just defensively to be solid, very organized, and again, making sure we're on the same page well. So I'd like to start off with that, and then been working on attack. But I'm not going to give you all my secrets.
Darn it. No, but it's funny you mention that, because I think that's one of those, team chemistry is one of the things that, cuts across sports. It's so hard to figure out. It's sometimes I like to call it alchemy, because you just don't know whether it's going to, sometimes you think it works and it doesn't, and sometimes it doesn't work and then all of a sudden it does.
True, yes.
Is it, how much having those, newcomers from last year coming back, that's got to help a lot though, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, because they have that year of experience and that year of listening to their coaches and listening to their teammates. And we've got a great core of players that are back, and then they become the leaders for the new ones. This is our standard, and this is how we train, and this is our behavior off the field. And, we take care of each other, things like that. So we have a core group of players that are back that can teach the young ones coming in.
You were on the Team USA, won a gold medal in 1996. Obviously, 99 was when women's soccer really sprung onto the scene here in the United States. Now I think that, and I'm interested to know what you think about this. I think back then, the United States as a sporting public wasn't quite ready to embrace soccer as ready as it is now. And we've seen how MLS has picked up with the men's game. We see the women's league really coming into its own. United States winning the World Cup last year as well. Here in town, of course, we have the Orlando Pride. You mentioned Carol Rodriguez was training with them. And I'm sure you see the little magnets on the cars all over town now. So how has the boom in soccer, particularly in the women's game, helped out the talent market in Florida, and particularly Central Florida? How has that helped in terms of player development?
Our sport has grown, since 96 or 1999 World Cup when we won. There's just, obviously it started back with Title IX, and they're just starting to have more opportunities. But, now parents, now what I'm realizing are the parents of players have played the sport. Back when we played, it's like my dad didn't play soccer and my mom didn't play soccer. Mm-hmm. But now you talk to kids that are being recruited, their parents played soccer, at some level. And so I think that's part of it, the participation and the support from parents. But it helps in recruiting, obviously, with the boom. And Florida is just a great state to recruit in. And that was one of the biggest reasons why Tim, my husband, and I wanted to take this job at UCF, because we really felt like we can go hard, in recruiting in our own state here. There's a lot of talent. We have a lot of competition in Florida with the other universities and other colleges, but I think there's a lot of good players to go around here in Florida. So I love that it's popular. I love that Orlando City and Orlando Pride are supported so well in this city. And I really feel like Orlando is a soccer city, and so that helps in recruiting too. So even if you're recruiting internationally, most internationals have heard of Orlando. You have Disney World, and then the fact that Orlando Pride's in your backyard and the professional coach could come watch your games, that can't hurt either. So there's a lot of soccer going on in Orlando, so it's really fun to be part of.
That reminds me of another question I've always been curious about. How does this work with you and your husband, Tim? I mean, do you guys talk soccer like over dinner with the girls around, or do you guys like leave it outside when we come in and have dinner together after work? We don't talk about soccer.
No, we don't. We don't have rules like that.
Okay,
because we are so passionate about our job. We're so passionate about this sport. We love what we do, so we can't help it. I think the main times where we're like, okay, we got to cut it off is, we have 2 little girls, and they don't want to hear about us, talking about recruiting sometimes. So there are times where we're like, okay, we need to, just talk about the girls and ask them questions and find out what's going on in their life and spend time with them. So we kind of have to be aware of that, obviously, when we go home. But Tim and I enjoy what we do so much that it doesn't ever feel like work.
Well, your track record speaks for itself, certainly. I wanted to talk about, obviously it's the Olympics now. USA in preliminary play doing obviously as well as everyone could expect right now. I always wonder this, we know how big the World Cup is and obviously the Olympics too, but there's obviously that gap between, the importance of the Olympics in the men's game compared to the women's game. How are the Olympics different from the World Cup, and how do they stack up for one another for someone who played on the national team?
I get that question a lot, and I'm still not sure if I have a really good answer for that because I see them really as 2 really special tournaments and events to be a part of. And every time, my Olympic experience and then each World Cup experience has been so different and all special in their own way. So, like in '96, it being the inaugural year that women's soccer ever appeared in the Olympics, that made it special. The fact that we won the first gold medal ever, in history, obviously that was special. And then the Olympics for me personally, being American, growing up, like I wasn't watching women's soccer players on TV, so I connected with the Olympics a little bit more because I could watch gymnasts and track and field athletes and swimmers and that were female. And so I connected with that more than like a World Cup where I only saw men. So personally, the Olympics in '96 was so special to me because that was a dream of mine since I was a little girl. But then as I got older, when I watched the '91 World Cup, I remember my high school coach said, "Hey, you need to watch this." In '91, I have some tape for you to watch of a World Cup, and from then, I watched. I was like, "Oh, I want to play on the national team." So I was in 1991, and then in '94. Actually started training with the team, so not too many years after. But anyway, the World Cup in '99 was so special within itself, like I said, just because we were not expecting for it to blow up like in that fashion, the way that it just snowballed and the whole country jumped on board and became this phenomenon, so just totally different and both very special. It's hard for me to choose one over the other.
Yeah, 100,000 people in the Rose Bowl, that'll do it.
It sure will.
How tight are you with Team USA now? You still keep in touch with your old teammates and everything?
Yeah, funny you ask, because we just got an email from the press officer yesterday, who is Aaron Heifetz, and he is the current press officer. So he's been with U.S. Soccer for a long time. And he emailed the '96 team and just said, happy anniversary. And it was pretty cool. So right now we have this string of emails going back and forth, and we're all talking about having a reunion here soon, so maybe in January. But we're close. It's not like we talk every day, but you have that special bond with teammates, and when you win a gold medal together, you kind of stay family forever. So it's nice that you can kind of call on one another if you need to. If you come into the city that one of your teammates lives in, we always try to do our best to stay in touch and see each other. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, here's to that. Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
All right, time now for speed round. I'm going to ask you a bunch of these questions in sort of rapid fire, and then you give me the answers back in rapid fire. This is going to be fun. All right, now you're the first. You're the first coach we've ever had on the show, on the Black and Gold Banneret podcast. So we're going to see how this goes, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So, all right, ready? Okay. Here we go. Let's start the clock. All right, who's the athlete you loved the most growing up?
Michelle Akers.
Oh, great answer. I love that. Who's
alum.
Yeah, that's right. Who's the athlete you hated the most growing up?
Okay, I have no idea. I didn't really hate anybody.
Not even like some other sport, like Bill Lane Beer of the Detroit Pistons or something.
No, I really just didn't have any of those emotions.
Oh, you're so nice. It's amazing. I love it. Who was your favorite coach when you were growing up?
I think the first person that comes to mind is his name is Nick Sten, and he was my club coach forever.
Awesome. What's your favorite meal?
Cheeseburger, French fries, and milkshake.
Oh, now we're talking. Yes. After a long day of work, you and Tim come home, you open the fridge, and you pour yourself a nice glass of what?
I go for Cabernet. He's different from me. He drinks a beer. I drink a glass of red wine.
That's awesome. Favorite musical artist or band?
That's always so hard, but I'll go with Chainsmokers. They're kind of hot right now.
Okay. Favorite actor or actress?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay. TV channel that's on all the time in the background in your office?
Oh, in my office, I would say usually like Fox Sports or something, but at home, randomly, it's HGTV.
Favorite place to be in the city of Orlando that is not your house or the office?
Lake Eola.
Best player you've ever coached against?
Tobin Heath.
Okay. Best coach you've ever coached against?
I'll just stick with the Tar Heels. Anson Dorrance.
Best team you've ever seen play in any sport?
That would have to be Real Madrid.
Yeah. Most famous person you've ever had an extended conversation with?
Believe it or not, Nelson Mandela.
Really? Wow. When did you talk to Nelson Mandela?
I was the 99 World Cup team was up for the team of the year in the Laureates Awards in 2000, and he was the guest speaker there.
All right, I'm stopping the clock. I need to know more about this. What was it like? What did you guys talk about?
Honestly, he was so amazing. I was just in awe. It wasn't just me. There were other athletes around, and he was just talking to us just about the power of sport. And, I mean, he had some significant athletes in front of him and how to use your sport to change society. So it was pretty deep, but it was pretty cool that you could just sit there and listen to him. Something I'll never forget.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So, let's start the clock again. Here we go. If it wasn't for soccer, you would be doing what with your life?
I think like a social worker, like a counselor or something. But then I also have this other side of me who's like a party planner. So like a wedding planner is so random.
That's fantastic. You must be a really good game planner if that's the case. If it wasn't for soccer, you would have played what other sport?
Okay, I'm not saying I'd be good at it, but I would like to play beach volleyball.
Give me the place that you're going to buy your retirement home in.
Hawaii.
Oh, yes. My wife and I, we did our honeymoon in Hawaii. Oh, my God.
Love it.
Maui and Kauai.
Oh, yeah.
Which island?
Well, I've never been to Maui or Kauai, but I feel like that is a place that I would love to be, although I haven't been there yet.
Oh, you got to go to Maui, and you got to go up to the top of the volcano, and you got to bike down. That's what my wife and I did on our honeymoon. It was amazing.
Okay, I'll put that on my bucket list.
That's on the bucket list. Do it next summer. Trust me. You're on a desert island. You're on a deserted island, rather. What movie is playing on repeat on the TV that you have?
Have you seen 16 Candles?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Molly Ringwald, right?
My favorites.
Molly Ringwald, right?
You got it.
That's right. Yep. Favorite professional team in any sport other than your own?
Oakland A's. That's where I grew up.
Oakland A's. Okay, there you go. Favorite sports moment you did not participate in?
Okay, I remember Mary Lou Retton winning a gold medal in the '84 Olympics.
There you go. First American gold in gymnastics, right?
Yep.
All right. If you could change one on-field rule in women's soccer right now, what would it be?
For college, I would say like no overtime in regular season. The season's too short and too condensed for the girls to have to add all those minutes on.
If you could change one off-field rule, what would it be?
So I would like our season to be extended. It's too short.
I always thought that too, because when I was working at UCF, and I still think this, it's like you blink and then the season's over, and then you have the field of 64, which is 3 weeks, and it's like they try and get the season done before Thanksgiving. You barely have enough time to put the team together.
Yeah, we have 8 days. Preseason starts, and you have 8 days before your exhibition match, and and you have a brand new team every year. So 1 week before the season to start is not enough time.
All right, here we go. Last 3 questions. Best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Control what you can control and don't ever make any excuses.
Who gave you that piece of advice?
My dad is like, don't ever make excuses. And control what you can control is a former professional coach of mine, Marcia McDermott, who is currently at West Point.
Best thing a player ever told you?
I think just I've had a couple players that say thank you, like thank you for believing in me, and I love that.
All right, last question. Here we go. What's the one book you think everyone should read?
The Alchemist.
Who wrote that?
Paulo. It's a Brazilian guy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Paulo Coelho, something like that.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, that's speed round.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I know. I got to look it up. I'm gonna pull it up on Amazon right now. So.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So that's speed round with Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak, and Coach, you've got your exhibition game coming up against Miami on Thursday night, August 11th, and then the season starts right after that. As we take a look at the schedule here, of course, you guys are going on the road. You've got Duke and Carolina on the road to start the season. First home match against UMass, August 25th. That's a Thursday night. And then 3 days later against South Carolina at the UCF Soccer Complex. Make sure you come on out. Tickets are on sale, including season tickets on sale for UCF Women's Soccer as they start another run towards hopefully an American Conference Championship and another run in the NCAA. So head coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak, thank you so much for joining us here on the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. And good luck in your first three games. We'll see you on Thursday night against Miami, and then we'll catch you for the regular season home opener against UMass.
Thank you. I had fun.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And once again, that was Coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak, the head coach of UCF Women's Soccer. They've got their first season opening exhibition match. They play one exhibition. It's at home, and it's against the Miami Hurricanes. That's Thursday, August 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern at the UCF Soccer Complex on campus. And then, like we said, they've got a tough non-conference schedule starting on the road, back-to-back, North Carolina and Duke up in the Triangle in North Carolina before they have their home regular season opener against UMass on August 25th. That's a Thursday night at 7 p.m. Again, season tickets are on sale for UCF, and they cost just $30. It's a pretty reasonable price. And that includes one general admission ticket to every home game and a UCF soccer scarf, and those are pretty cool, too. UCF also has South Carolina on August 28th at home, FIU September 8th, and don't forget, big game at Florida in Gainesville. Hoping to get some UCF fans up to Gatortown on September 18th for that game, as well as and then it's to the conference schedule. September 29th against Houston is the home conference opener. So that wraps it up for our first preview interview with UCF women's soccer head coach Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak. We've got a few more coming for you in the works. We're going to get head volleyball coach Todd Dagenet to discuss his team coming into the 2016 season, as well as Brian Cunningham, the head men's soccer coach at UCF, and we're going to dive into various different topics with them as well. Hope you will subscribe to us once again on iTunes if you haven't already, as well as on Google Play. Look out for us on Stitcher as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at UCF_Banneret and also on Facebook at Black and Gold Banneret. And, of course, you can sign up for an email newsletter. Get the newest stuff delivered right to your email inbox. If you go to blackandgoldbanneret.com, anything that's new that pops up there, it'll be in your inbox first if you sign up for email alerts from the Black and Gold Banneret. So, once again, for the absent Eric Lopez, my name is Jeff Sharon. Thank you so much for listening to the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. We'll get you later on this week with some more fall sport previews. For now, I'm Jeff Sharon. Thanks for listening to the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.